Welcome back to Canopy Practice Success. I'm here with Michael Lee. Welcome.
Hey, Casey, how are you?
Good. How are you? I already asked you how you are. Oh my goodness. Anyway, it's been a day. Michael, please give us an introduction so I stop mumbling.
Well, I'm Michael Lee, and thank you for having me on. I am CEO and founder of Reconciled. That's how most people professionally know me. Reconciled's a outsourced bookkeeping accounting services firm that I started in New England, in Vermont, a town called Burlington, Vermont, and have been growing it since into a national firm as a national brand. I'm not involved much in the day-to-day anymore of the company, mainly because of the size, but I do focus on some particular areas of the
How big is
business.
it now?
We are around 40 people, around 40
Okay.
people total, yeah. And we have both a mix of US employees as well as employees in Argentina, which is like the
Okay.
place we nearshore to. So that's been great. So I've gotten a chance to just grow this and had the fortune of working with some great people, and then since then have launched a few other businesses and gotten into angel investing in venture capital as well in the space, which is great.
That is a hot topic right now.
Yeah, it's a super hot topic. Yes,
Yeah.
especially as it relates to artificial intelligence and then capital coming into the accounting space. That was not something people cared about before. There's a lot of capital coming in the accounting space, and I would say something I'm really passionate about. And was kind of the foundation of growing Reconciled was figuring out how to listen and to hear for opportunities or listen for opportunities. So I do talk a lot about that with different people.
What made you passionate about that?
I think, well, let me back up. When I started Reconciled, I really didn't feel like I knew how to sell naturally. I mean, I had my personality. So if you're outgoing and extrovert, you kind of have this personality that might lend itself for selling. But there is a process and a skill to selling that I didn't know existed. And so what I figured out very quickly was that if I spent most of a sales call listening and asking great questions and spent as little time as possible talking about myself or Reconciled, I almost always landed that client. And I found that funny because the client would leave a call knowing very little about me or Reconciled, but willing to sign our contract, hand over usernames and passwords and access to all their financial stuff for us to do our accounting work. And we were able to do that within a 45-minute to 60-minute time frame on one interaction. So I figured out that art of just listening and really listening for what actual problems does the customers want us to solve not only allowed me then to craft engagement letters that made sense and also built trust very quickly. It also let me hear for other opportunities outside of just bookkeeping services. So we were able to then expand the service lines we offer or find partners to be able to serve our customers.
Yes. Okay. So super interesting. I never thought I'd be able to talk about a little bit of my background on this podcast because I never felt like it applied. I started my career in sales enablement. I worked a lot with sales professionals and onboarding them and training them on the whatever product it was of whatever company I was at, right? But the things I talked about the most were exactly what you said, are asking questions and asking the right questions. I also have an entrepreneur mother, and anytime I have the itch to be entrepreneurial, I scare myself out of it because of sales, which is so funny because I have this experience training sales reps, but sales is frightening to me. And I think that's a common thing, not just for accountants, but again, entrepreneurs in general. You get this idea, you get this passion for whatever service, whatever offering you're wanting to offer. Why is sales so daunting?
I think the part of sales that most people are scared about is the act of reaching out cold, either through a phone call, especially a phone call. That's like the thing people want to avoid. Most people want to avoid.
Well,
Cold
that's why
email,
good
phone call.
marketing. If
Yeah.
you've got good marketing, you don't need to do that.
Yeah. Well, yes, I agree, except there are services or products that have to be sold. They just have to be because the marketing.
Well, I mean, you're not, in that
marketing
sense,
wouldn't
you're
make
not
sense.
necessarily calling super cold because hopefully there have been marketing outreaches or touches with your brand or who knows what. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But I would say that our biggest success has been reaching out cold via email. That was our biggest success for the first 8 years of the business.
Okay.
And the potential customer never hearing about us at all because we spent no money on marketing. So I think the scary part for most people is the initial, I've got to reach out to a stranger and I have to reach out to multiple strangers. And that one
Or
is
even just
it's
how do
yeah,
I find those strangers?
well, yeah, how to find strangers is definitely. I mean, there is a knowledge about, okay, where do I look for those? Where do I look for them? But then to actually say I have to contact them, they don't just, for example, they don't just find our website and fill out a form, and that tells me they want me to contact them. Because then I can say, hey, you filled out a form. What do I say then when somebody? Because you and I know when we pick up a random phone call from somebody, how do we feel when we have
Yeah.
no idea what it is? So I think most people are scared about the cutting through the noise and then rejection, the rejection of I don't want to talk to you, or thanks for telling me what you do. I don't want that service or product, right? So it's like the
Yes.
rejection phase. And that has to happen lots of times for you to become a good salesperson. Every good salesperson, every good fundraiser, every good entrepreneur has been rejected thousands of times.
Have you
Thousands.
seen that TED Talk of that guy who talked about how he intentionally went to get rejected?
No, I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh. You might need
Yeah.
to watch that, and maybe that might be a good one for our listeners too then. And this individual, I'm forgetting what his name is, but he ended up spinning up a website and now has like a rejection challenge, I want to say, and things for you to try so you can get used to rejection. Anyway, it's fascinating.
Yeah. I think that's the like the first one of the steps of gaining confidence in sales or
Yes.
anything that is about approaching people or trying new things or even asking somebody out. Like all those things all relate to it. Asking for a lower price, negotiating a price, all relates to rejection. It's
Yeah.
can you stomach rejection? And that's a big piece. Then probably the next layer of that, in my opinion, is are you okay with disappointing people? That's the other level. That's particularly important for accountants. I would say for accountants,
Okay.
because accountants want to know we are doing not just good work, we're doing perfect work. It is perfectly accurate.
Well, when you're
And
dealing with
yeah,
numbers and you feel like you can make that call, I could see that.
yeah. So yeah, that's but the problem is that you are gonna disappoint people being an entrepreneur, being a salesperson even. You're gonna say, we do this, and your operations team won't be able to do it or can't do it or doesn't do it in a timely manner or whatever, and you lose the client. And so
Mm,
you're disappointing somebody, right? And the clash between sales and operations oftentimes is you're selling something that I'm going to be disappointing them on. I don't want to disappoint them. I want to do good work, and you promise something I can't do. And the sales gets frustrated and says, "Why don't you just do this? Is fits in again. Why don't you just do it? We sold ice. Give them ice." So it's like that's the frustration of sales is the customer's paying for it. Just do figure out how to do it. You're a competent person.
yeah.
So, but getting to the place where you're actually okay with know that know that you are going to disappoint people and that's okay. It's not the end of the world. That's like the next layer of allowing yourself to detach from the emotional personal parts of selling that a lot of people get scared about, you know, connecting. But
Yeah. I mean, we got a little, I wouldn't say derailed there, but I mean, we went that route from your comment of listening and sales, and we're talking about all the sales pre an actual sales call.
yeah,
But you're on a sales call and you talked about getting passionate about listening. What does good listening look like for an accountant?
I think there is probably a few things that relate to that. One is you coming up with good questions that allow
Are
you.
they the
Yeah,
same questions every time?
they're the
You
same
think? Or
questions every time.
okay.
We have a script at Reconciled. We've built a script over the many years that I've done this. We just built a script, and anybody you could sell for us, honestly, because it doesn't require you to. I've only hired non-accountants to sell. I've never hired accountants to sell. I think most accountants are terrible at selling because they want answers to questions that don't matter to the person buying your service.
Can
They
you give
don't
me your
matter.
P&L? How
Yeah.
many transactions have you had in the last
Yes.
month? Yeah.
Yes, there's these things that they think actually that that have 80% of the impact on the proposal, and it doesn't. There's actually
Yeah.
better questions that have 80% of the impact on the proposal and the pricing of the proposal, right? A good accountant asks the right questions, asks the questions that are relevant to the buyer, and then gets enough information to be able to build a proposal that is 80% enough the information, and there's a few answers to things. It literally drives 80% of the pricing, 80% of the proposal, 80%, like the 80/20 rule on everything. So figuring out those questions when you ask a question, stopping, listening, and listening for two things: where's the real pain point of the customer, where's the real pain point, and then secondly, what other opportunities from that pain point can you get outside of just bookkeeping? because most accountants are looking for the accounting problem, and
Yeah.
they're not seeing, wait, there's a sales problem, there's a marketing problem, there's an HR issues, whatever. How about I offer to help solve those, whether I'm doing the service or not? How about I be a hero and help point that person to the right provider? And so that's like that makes you kind of this above and beyond salesperson, because you're providing value in that call without having landed them yet. But I guarantee you, you will land them once you do it. I've had sales calls where I literally I say nothing about myself. I just have ask customer questions. We get to the end. I say, hey, is there anything you need to learn about me or Reconciled? They say no. Okay. Just send me the pros. I'm ready to sign. Great. They know nothing about what we do, right? They don't know anything. But the only thing, likelihood is they saw a cold email they received that says, we offer accounting services. Do you need help? That's it, right? So those are some of the best calls, because you've just earned the trust of this customer without talking about yourself.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Well, it makes me think of, I don't know many country songs, but it does make me think of one that I know. That I want to talk about me, want to talk about I
Yeah.
want to talk about number one. We
Yes.
all want to talk about ourselves. And that's an interesting note, that like you as the accountant, as the potential advisor, as the one doing the selling, pitching the opportunity. If you want to close business, you can't give in to that desire to
Right.
speak about yourself, your business. It is about them as your client, a potential client.
Right. That's, I think, really important. And then it allows you as an accountant, I started my firm as the first employee. And what most accountants do is they start their firm as the first employee, and they start selling their skill set. So why will I be the perfect advisor or accountant for you? Well, the problem with that is now you're stuck with, you have to serve that client yourself. You have to be the one serving them. You can't give them to somebody else, because you've been selling yourself, right? You haven't
Yeah.
and you've been talking too much about yourself.
My gosh, I just had a light bulb. I hope other people did. That describes why you get the bottlenecking of clients reaching out specifically to someone, especially if you have tech that is trying to get them to avoid calling directly
Yeah.
or emailing directly. If you've got a client portal or who knows what, right? Or a client relationship manager, a different role that maybe they should be talking to. That explains why
Yeah.
they would go past all those barriers or ignore all those rules.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
you sold me you. That's what you sold me. You didn't sell me a process. You didn't sell me an experience that your company's going to provide. You didn't sell me a standardized service. You sold me you. And so I expect to talk to you. I expect to be served by you. But if you're able to listen and not talk about yourself much, and
Yeah.
focus on listening and hearing the problems, you can present a statement of work or an engagement letter that has nothing to do with you. It's anybody at your company can serve this. You're saying, Reconciled is the one that's going to serve you. Well, then I'm free to delegate whoever I want to on this customer. And so that's also a big important piece, is changing the perception of what you're actually selling. Are you selling your brand and an experience of services, or are you selling yourself and your skill set? And so I really focus on not selling Michael Lee at all since the beginning, and really focusing on the brand and our process. And that was really important.
How did you learn that? This seems so out of the norm for the industry. How did you stumble across all of this?
I think just through practice. I guess I just thought to myself, if I want to have a growing firm, I can't be the one servicing customers. I
Yeah.
just can't be. Otherwise, if that's the only area I'm passionate about, 99% of the accountants that run firms I know are actively serving customers, heavily, right?
Yeah.
They're doing half the tax returns. They're signing every tax return. They're reviewing every tax return. They're doing all the CFO level work, whatever. If there is an escalation issue, they're the ones that have the final escalation, or they're the ones solving the escalation, and that limits your ability to grow. And so I just knew right away, I'm gonna need to focus on finding people better than me, and that work more competent than me on the service, and focus on selling really well. And so that's what I did for the first 3 to 4 years, until I started hiring a sales team. Now I'm not involved in most sales. The sales team takes care of it, but that took time, to develop.
You said you have a script. Do you have different scripts for the different types of clients that might be coming in? I'd assume that the questions would change based on the type of client or work or industry or something, or maybe not.
No, we have the same questions that we want answered for
Okay.
every customer. And our front door generally is, a customer wants an outsourced bookkeeping provider. that's, online or digital. They want that. So that's what they're looking. That's the front door generally. It's in the sales call, we can hear, do they need tax? Do they need advisory? Do they need HR? Do they need food delivered to them? Whatever it is. That's what the salesperson's hearing, listening for, and then able to either mention, we offer that, by the way, additionally, and we're happy to put it in the proposal. And so that's where the digging happens, is like listening and going, example, they've got a really fast growth plan this year. Most accountants don't ask the question, what's your growth plan for the next 3 years or this year? Why does that matter? Why does that matter accounting? Well, it matters if you can sell a CFO service to help them with cash flow management, because growth takes cash, and an HR service to help them with people operations, because growth takes people, right? So you hear for those, but if you're not asking the future questions, if you're just focused on what is the fact about the business today, you're not gonna be able to dig for opportunities that either comes now or maybe comes later. Hey, in 3 months, I'm going to send you this for booking, but in 3 months, I think we need to re-engage the proposal and get you an advisor. Let's get your book straight. Then we get you an advisor, because we want to help you get to your growth plan and stay accountable. And most accountants aren't saying those words. They're not talking about that they're part of the growth plan. Those are things that you uncover through listening in sales.
Now I'm scared to ask because I don't know how secret this is. But what are some of your questions? And maybe we edit this out if you find it's too
No, there's no secrets. What people will find is, on all the podcast webinars, I share everything about how I've built Reconciled. All of it is publicly available in the sense of the practices I have. There's no proprietary
Steal
practice to
Michael's
do it.
ideals.
Yeah,
Steal them
yeah,
right
literally.
now.
And I've had people reach out and go, hey, can you coach me on this? And I'll coach them on it, right? I'll talk through them. So the ability to do email outreach, cold email, anybody could do cold email outreach, right? It's a matter of executing. And it's the same thing with sales calls. It's a matter of executing. And since most accountants are scared of sales calls, I know most people won't execute on these things. But questions we often ask, what are your hiring plans for the rest of the year, right? There's obviously the basic ones, like what accounting system you're in. How do you pay bills right now? How do you invoice customers right now? For us to understand
But
just like the process.
those
Yeah.
you could ask in like an intake survey.
Yes. You don't even have
You
to
don't
ask that
need
in
that
call.
doesn't need to
Yeah.
be a part of the sales call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you that most customers hate filling out surveys. So do not create a barrier that doesn't need to exist. If you
Right.
can
So
get the answer, if you can get the answer on the call, get it. Otherwise, once you see, oh, they're great, you say, hey, can you answer? I'm going to send you a survey right now. Can you just answer some of the questions right now? Just fill it out. It'll take
well,
1 minute, right? Yeah.
to that point, just to call out a quick distinction here, and human behavior is such that if the barrier to entry is 30 seconds
Yep.
or more, they won't do it. And with sales call type questions, you're going to have open-ended questions. People are not going to take the time to type out those answers, even
Right.
if it takes less time than the sales call itself. And then there's that human interaction. So good call out. I just wanted to dig in on that. I've had personal experience with that. And know that, okay, yeah, hop on a call, have a good, and you can't demonstrate listening with a survey either.
No,
And
you
that
can't.
listening is so psychological.
Yeah. Listening is the key to gaining currency or trust very quickly, because in our field, we're asking people to share the most intimate part of what's us in the West consider the most intimate part of our lives, which is our finances. We almost never talk about that with anybody, not even our friends. Most of our friends don't know what's in our bank account, what's on our credit cards, where we spend money. Why would we ever share that? That's a very cultural thing here. And so you're asking that somebody to share that, reveal that, and give us access to it to do our work. You've got to be able to build trust very fast. And it's not going to be by trying to paint yourself as very impressive. It's going to be by really understanding the customer's needs and wants, and then meeting those needs.
Yeah. So you've talked about that, listening to build trust. Have you kept track of like your conversion rates of like net new business when you have these sales calls? And do you know what an industry standard is? Because I have this feeling that if we had that data, I don't know if we do. I'm such a
Yeah,
data
I
nerd.
don't know. I don't know if we have industry standard data on
Yeah.
on
But
we aim to close 25 to 30% of all the calls we do. So if we do a call and it sends a proposal, we aim to close 25 to 30%. For
I
us,
know in
that's a
tech,
focus. Yeah.
I know in tech that's high. That is
Yeah.
like gold standard closing rates.
Yeah. That's our aim. And because what it tells us is we're pricing high enough for enough people to say no, but we're pricing high enough, and then also we are we're providing enough value in the sale for enough customers to close. If it goes much
And
lower, then we're priced too high, likely, or we're not articulating our value. And if it goes higher, we're leaving money on the table for sure, right?
yeah,
Some people say I close every deal or I close 50%. You're leaving money on the table. You could increase your prices. There should be people that say no, I can't afford you in your call, and you want to have those people. You want to have those people on a call just so you understand where your pricing is based on the market they're in.
yeah, yeah. And you're obviously like even with a 25-35% win rate, um, you're making up for the time spent on the ones that you don't win. Like
Correct.
it's that is just fine. I just know accountants need to hear that.
Yeah. It's okay
That
to
that is not
lose.
time
Yeah.
wasted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not. It's not.
It
It's
may
okay
be
to
it
lose
may not
them.
be billable if you're doing time. Oh, there's a good question. Are you tracking time and billing by hour?
We do not bill by the hour. We bill
I
fixed
had a
monthly fee.
feeling. I
Yeah.
had a feeling.
Yeah, we don't do that. We've never done that since the beginning. Yeah. It wasn't something that I thought we had to do
Yeah.
was to bill by the hour.
Yeah.
It just didn't cross my mind. But and maybe
Right.
it's
It
because
didn't
I've never worked in a public accounting firm, so maybe that's why.
that was gonna be my
Yeah.
next question. You didn't inherit
No, a
the
practice. Yeah.
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 So interesting. Thank you, Michael. I feel like this is an opportunity that a lot of people in the industry, especially those who own boutique sized firms like your own, don't understand. And I've been an advocate for a long time of hiring non CPA talent for operations roles, but you're the first I've heard of hiring non CPA talent in sales positions. I'm curious too then what your workflow is. You get someone who's not an accountant asking the questions that are getting you the information to then send proposals. What's that handoff like internally? How are you ensuring that the accountant is getting the information they need? And are we taking that information and we didn't even talk about the history of Reconciled and how you started in bookkeeping and then moved through services. I'm assuming then because of the history of your company in general that your current employees are then also taking that information and offering the advisory services that's part of the proposals because you're getting at those pain points
Yeah.
through these sales
Yeah,
calls.
as I mentioned before, our salespeople are listening for other opportunities, and
Hmm.
that allows us to provide additional services. And so we're able to add those services if they become significant enough to go, hey, let's stop referring this out. Let's just do this in house now because we're getting so many requests or we're hearing the pain point in the sales call. So that's just super helpful. For example, tax, we inherited tax services 3 years ago when we did our first acquisition or our second acquisition. And tax was not something I ever wanted to offer. I have no tax background. I don't know how to grow it. I don't want to be on the schedule of tax or anything like that. But we inherited it. And then because we had it and we started offering it to our customers that we didn't offer to it before. And then we started seeing, okay, this is valuable for them. They really wanted a one-stop shop and they're really happy with us. So they're more than happy to give us the tax work as well. So it has its own challenges too, because you do have a different department on a different life cycle with the customer. But we found that, you begin learning and through practice and hearing what the customer needs.
How is your 40-person firm spread across these different roles?
Most of the company is made up of the accounting services team.
Mm.
So they're serving customers on a weekly, monthly basis. They're doing all the, what you would think an accountant would do, all the back office work, all the transactional work that goes into QuickBooks. And then we have a small advisory team of full-time CFOs and contractors as well that serve the same set of customers that sign up for it. We have, a sales department that does sales and marketing. We have a very, very small accounting department with just like one person that handles, all the books and everything like that
Just
internally.
for
Yeah,
Reconciled.
just for Reconciled. Yeah. And they're also involved in onboarding and other projects as well in the company. And we have a small HR department as well. And our internal HR team does all of the external HR services work too for some clients as well. So they're playing kind of double duty. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. So yeah, it's and then it's been good. It's been a good 10-year journey so far.
I love it. I love it. It's a very unique approach in the industry right now. And one thing that I want to ask because I know I'll just ask a question. How do you ensure that you are presenting a uniform client experience when you have multiple people dealing with the same client?
Oh, that's a great question. So one is you want to start off with making sure the services you're offering are standardized. So literally what you put in the engagement letter that you're going to do on a weekly or monthly basis. So that's what we do. We list out, here are the things we're responsible for. Secondly, we have that proposal when it's signed automatically going into a practice management system. So it's having a practice management system where all of your processes are documented, all of your processes are talked about, all the details are in there. And then anything unique you have, all the notes for that is in there. So having that in there allows anybody then to jump into that client and go, where's this client at? And Sally's on vacation. I'm going to jump in and do the rest of the work on this client. It allows you to see the progress. Most firms, all of that stuff is sitting in the employee's head or the owner's
Yeah.
head. And then they lose that employee and they're like, oh my gosh, all that tribal knowledge is gone. And a new
Well,
employee
and
steps in.
that's where the partner model is what it is too, of
Right.
like, hey, I've been here long enough. I have my book of clients. Or if I'm gonna break out, I'm taking my book of clients. Like that's that
Yeah.
whole thing where like, and then which then I'm gonna interrupt and ask a different question then. Do you feel like you have to offer a different incentive for people to stick with the company for like a career progression, or is that not a concern because it's people working at Reconciled haven't been in public accounting and they're not inheriting those?
Yeah, we don't hire people that we don't even hire CPAs.
Yeah.
We have people who have worked in an office as a staff accountant or a office clerk or an AP clerk, anyway that just know general admin work. We really could care less about their degree. We would
Yeah.
care more about, hey, do they like attention to detail? Are they a personality that we would want our customers to
Yeah.
interact with? Can they respond to emails and talk and not be afraid to be on a video call with a customer and respond? And can they learn? Can they learn new software? Because they're always going to be learning.
Yeah.
I would say that, in this space for cloud accounting or outsourced accounting, actual bookkeeping is probably only half at best of your job. The other half is customer service. You have to just respond to the customer and try to problem solve and go out and learn something new and problem solve by learning something new as well, not being afraid to do that. So we're way less concerned about, hey, did you get the formal accounting education and did you get to work in audit or tax? We could care less where you worked about that. So we don't have to worry. So there's not that expectation of getting to partner. That's not an
Yeah.
expectation.
Right. I knew that wasn't just what you were laying down. I was picking that up, but it just sounds like you're structured more like tech, which I am used to.
Yes.
And the incentive, there are just different incentives in tech, different ways of like building your career and getting a larger income and all sorts of things. It's not about this almost like a hoarding mentality.
Yeah.
It is a growth set mentality.
Yes. And you'll be surprised. You'll be surprised. I was surprised, but there are many bookkeepers, accountants out there where the top reason they are with your company or with a job, the reason they stay is because they feel like they do good work. The work is found valuable by their customers that they work with or by the owner of the company, and that's like the primary reason that they're there. It's maybe second, third, or fourth of I'm getting promotions, I'm getting title increase. There's a lot of set of accounts who do not want or could care less. There are a set of accounts that don't want to manage anybody. We've given opportunities to manage to several people, a lot of different people, and they'll say, I don't think I want to ever manage people. And that's okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. And it doesn't mean you can't grow. You can go this other route of, hey, well,
Yes.
let's get your skill set to a controller level or a CFO level. Let's help you get to that path. And so, but are they always learning new systems? Yes. Are they trying to challenge themselves with, we give them new clients and take the easy ones off of their plate, give them the new people? Yes, right. So that's where the learning for them goes. But oftentimes it's just a matter of, is my work valued? Am I doing good work? If you make an accountant do bad work, like if you lower your standards as a company and say, hey, just get it 50% done, it's fine. Most accountants would quit, in my opinion. They would say, hey, look, I need to do good work and I need to stand behind it. And I want to feel like I'm doing good work, right? And that the customer wants that. So that's most accountants.
Yeah. I know people are going to be itching to see where they need to go to steal all of your awesome ideas. Where do we send them, Michael?
Well, first off, if you just search my name and then the word podcast, webinar, interview, whatever, there's probably 100, interviews, webinars over the past 10 years where I've literally shared almost everything that I do in the business. So there's nothing secret, I haven't shared where I bank, I think. That's what, but like, I don't know if that matters. But
No. Yeah.
yeah, the tech stack, how operations work, how we onboard employees, how we onboard customers, et cetera, right?
Yeah.
Even the nearshore partners we have in Argentina, I share with
Yeah.
people. Call them, use them, right? So that's all out there. But
Yeah.
as you know and I know, it's all about execution.
Yes.
So that most of you have enough information from the internet, from anybody like me. You can go start a firm. You can go start a firm. There's
Or
low barrier to
refine your
entry.
current firm.
Yeah, or find your current firm, or help the firm that you're working at. You can
Yeah.
take all of those ideas and implement them. It's a matter of implementing, and
Yeah.
and so yeah, just search my name and podcast or whatever to
I love
find
it.
info. Yeah,
I loved this conversation because too in an era where we could have talked about AI, we could have.
yeah,
I'll end with this. I attended a webinar not too long ago called something like Be the Marketer AI Can't Replace. AI has a lot of applications in marketing. It's copywriting, Is it great? No,
mhm,
but it speeds things up a lot for us. And I so appreciated that webinar because it was positive, because so much about AI has been negative. And the reason I bring that up as a closing remark here is because you leaned on something AI can't do. And that is relationships. It is the human element. It is
right,
the listening. And how listening cannot, I mean, we can use AI to help us create summaries, right? But AI is not critically thinking and listening the way you've described through this sales process of identifying problems and therefore having that be what informs your proposal, and even the psychological element of being on a call and feeling listened to. AI
right,
can't do that.
right. And I can't tell if the customer's disengaged or if they're angry, upset, or if they're sad, disappointed. It's not being able to tell that yet. Maybe it will in the
Yeah.
future, but it has not been able to tell
Yeah.
that yet right now.
Yeah. In the meantime, there's still plenty to do and improve upon that doesn't require learning AI or tech. It just
Right.
requires a little bit better listening. And I love that. I feel like that boils it down to a really simple principle that all of us can do if we just bring it to the front of our minds a little bit more. It has such a huge impact on the business.
Yeah,
Thank you,
totally.
Michael.
Yeah. Thank you, Casey.